Yep, this is where I film videos. So I thought I might take you through, I've just finished sorting my DVDs, and I thought I might take you through my new system for that and just show you a bit of what I've got, including some older recording mediums. You can see everything's in alphabetical order. So these aren't all the DVDs I own. I went through and I sorted things into a couple categories of what I thought I might be wanting to look at recently because I wanted to rewatch them, or things that I watch frequently, or just new stuff that I haven't had the chance to watch yet and really want to. The rest of them, so these are all in alphabetical order, but the rest of them are in storage over here. I'm doing this one-handed. So they've got two boxes here. Box 1, over there's box 2. And again, these are all in alphabetical order. So it's 2 layers deep. Now I know that compared to a lot of people, there's a lot of people who have way more DVDs than me, but I don't know. I only try and buy movies if I can get them for less than $5. I hate to pay more than $5 for any given movie. I've got a system set up though, so, and this box also in alphabetical order, but it's all continuous alphabetical order. So what I've got is, actually I'll show you, hang on. So over here, on my computer, I've put together this file, which is a complete list of all of the movies that I own. So let's just, let's pick something at random. So, Day the Earth Stood Still. So I've got the title, director, genre. I've got 2 things for genre, because a lot of what I have is, multiple genre. Then I've got runtime, year that it was released, whether it's in storage or out on display, and then the format that it's in. So now what I can do is I can come in here, I can look up what I want to watch. So let's say that I want to watch, I don't know, let me grab something at random. Let's say I wanted to watch, hang on, what's something that's in storage? So yes, that's in storage. Kiki's Delivery Service. So let's say I wanted to watch Kiki's Delivery Service. What I can do is come over here. Okay, this is a bad example because it's right here on the top, but it was easy to find. Let's say I want to find, I don't know, Batman the movie, the 1966 one. So I would know that if that's starting at A up in that corner, B is going to be, I don't know, like somewhere in here. So I'll just grab a handful of DVDs out. So I'm not changing the order they're in, so it's not under there. So I need to go back further. Need to go back even further. And there it is. There's, right down in there, Batman the movie. So I can just grab that out, and what I do is if I was to grab that out, because I want to watch Adam West Batman, I would just take the next one and just turn it up like that on its side, so that, that's sticking up, so I'm not going to lose the place. So then, when I've finished the movie, I want to put it back in storage, just come and pop it back in, and then, so that's the order they came out from, and they're back in order. Took me seconds to do, simple, done. Of course, these boxes normally live in the cupboard in here, so I have to grab the box out, but obviously the ones over here, as you can see, so these are ones that either, I watch frequently, like the Alien films. If I ever want to watch a movie or put a movie on, and I don't know what I want to watch, Aliens is one of my go-to movies, so that's out there. Back to the Future as well. I watch that film a lot, like a lot. So, but there's also things like All the President's Men, which I haven't watched in a while, and I thought, when I was sorting the DVDs, I thought, oh yeah, I might rewatch that film. So I've left it out. Haven't had the chance to rewatch it yet though. Or Abominable Dr. Phibes, I haven't watched in a while, so I left that one out. Then I've got something like Adventureland, which I haven't seen. So I've left that out there because I keep thinking, yeah, no, I'll put that on and I'll actually get around to watching it. So it's a combination of some really great stuff and some schlock. So there's things like, I'm not going to go through my entire DVD collection, maybe some other time. And then at the bottom here, I've got VHS tapes. And I got some of these facing forward like in an old video store, because I get quite nostalgic for that. So I got a whole bunch of these in the cupboard, and I got a whole stack here that I forgot that I had, that I just found, and I need to put them into the database as well. The Last 10 Days, which is a really interesting film. It's Alec Guinness playing Hitler, and he said it's the only film where he is actually pleased with his performance, like that he wouldn't go back and change anything and redo it. That I tracked down on VHS ages ago now, but I think it's now got a DVD and Blu-ray release. But back when I got the VHS, I mean, Blu-ray existed at that point, but that film had not come out on DVD or Blu-ray. So that VHS, that was the only way to get that movie. Now over here is something really interesting, which I don't know how many people remember beta tapes. I mean, like people my age will, but beta tapes was basically like Betamax was the competitor to VHS back in the Helen McGraw VHS. It's like they're slightly smaller. And back in the late 70s, early 80s, Betamax was like the biggest competitor to VHS for home movies. But VHS just it won hands down because they were much cheaper to produce, and like on your home TV, you weren't going to see much difference in quality, even though beta tapes. Hang on, I'll get one out. Hang on. It's difficult to do this one-handed. Beta tapes were much higher quality, and up until I think maybe last year or the year before, they were still used for like finishing movies on, like ingesting things from film to digital. So like for example here, I'll show you the size, but this Betamax tape here, so you can see it's like a little mini VHS. This tape here actually is my university film that I shot on 16mm and ingested on beta tape. Now this is like a giant one. So this actually is a blank one. So like let's compare it to the size of a VHS tape. So you can see like this is like a great big thing. And this is just a blank one because this is what I was supposed to finish my 60mm film onto back at university, and it would then be able to be ingested into the computer, which that just means like taking the footage off of the thing into an editing software, so I could edit the film. But so like this is the finished film, not the original rushes, which is like the what you filmed on the days when you were shooting the film. But now this was supposed to be I got this and I left it at home on the day that I went into what's called Telecine, which is a place that does that ingesting process for you, and does all of the like color correcting and stuff on your basic footage, like when you ingest it, or before you ingest it. Sorry. So I forgot my giant beta tape. I left this at home, and so the guy at the Telecine place said, "Oh, look, just use one of these." He handed me one. He said, "Just use that one, and when you get the chance, just like come in the next couple of weeks or whatever, and drop yours in, and that'll even out the cost." But because I'm holding it, I obviously never did that, and it's because I just never got around to doing it. And the Telecine place closed. There used to be one in Melbourne and one in Sydney. I think there's still one in Sydney, but the one in Melbourne closed before it wasn't like 6 years later, it was just like a couple months later. It closed before I could return the tape, and I still feel guilty for having it. So I've got one of my movies, that's the other movie, I'll show to you, hang on. Here is 16mm film. Yeah, now we're going back. This is what I shot, the film that is on YouTube, Ghost Love Story, which someone added the indefinite article to the title there. But Deluxe, that was the name of the Telecine place. So you can see there, Sydney and Melbourne. Melbourne definitely doesn't exist anymore. This was, I shot on Kodak. You could shoot on two, there was what were the two types? There was Kodak and there was Fuji. And Fuji had like a much colder feel to it, I think. And Kodak had a much warmer feel. I think I could have that the wrong way around because this is the last time that I shot on film. So obviously it says on there, like if you look through the label, exposed film, do not open. But that's only before it's been sort of finished. So you can see here the actual film reel, and if I got this out and held it up to the light, you'd be able to see each frame of the movie, but I'm not going to do that because I can't do that one-handed and it'll make a big mess. So the reason that beta tapes were used was because they were similar in visual quality to film, 16mm film, which is what this was. Because, like, with digital things, you have, like a certain number of pixels, right? That's how, like, what I'm recording right now on this camera is light hits a little sensor, and that the wavelength of that light determines the color pixel that appears on the screen. But with film, that's an analog medium. It's not digital. So with that, it was, actual little chemical reactions happened on the piece of celluloid on each frame. The original ones made by the Lumiere brothers, who invented the moving image, was made out of pressed potato. Like, I'm not even joking. And it was chemicals they added to the potato that made the starches change into different shades, because that's why old film was originally black and white. So this was color film, but I filmed it for black and white because I knew that I was going to, in post-production, turn all footage black and white. So there's certain things you can do with lighting, which I won't get into. Some you can do with color. Some, if you do them, will look terrible in color because you've got warm light and cold light kind of crashing into each other. It'll look just dreadful. But if you turn it black and white, doesn't make a difference. You just can't tell. It all ends up looking the same. So I made the decision before we started filming, even though it's color film, I'm going to shoot it so that it's for black and white, so it didn't matter with the two different types of light. So if you watch this in color, it would look dreadful, even though in black and white it looks great. And that's something I really enjoy doing, actually, is films like Indiana Jones. I swear that this was supposed to have been in black and white, but the studio made them shoot color. Because if you watch this film in black and white, and this is what I love to do, is grab a color film and then just, I think you can probably do it on the computer somehow, but just crank down the color values on your old TV and watch it in black and white. It's a really different experience. Like, it totally changes the film. So this movie looks so good in black and white. Like, all the lighting suddenly pops out. I mean, the old film serials that Lucas and Spielberg were inspired by with Raiders, they were all black and white. So I'm sure that it was intentional, but they were made to release it in color because no one wants to see black and white movies anymore, and that was true even in the 80s. There was a Coen Brothers film that is in black and white, and the studio wanted them to film it in color, just in case you change your mind, so it can be released in color. And they knew that was code for, we're going to release it in color whether you like it or not. So they did all the lighting and set design and costume, so that in black and white it looked fine, but in color it was just unwatchably horrible. And the studio had to let them release it in black and white, which is just, that's that Kubrick level of creative control assurance. Oh, that's what I was originally going to say with Betamax, is, people say, oh, it's a dead medium, but there's, I think up until like last year they were still making it because, for filmmakers, because that's what people who shot film were still finishing on. The tape has now, won't hold on there anymore. So yeah, it's dead now, but up until like 2015 or 16, it was still very much alive, just because there was no home video releases on it. Didn't mean that it still wasn't being made and being used by filmmakers. That's what I was going to talk about, I almost forgot, or complain about, I guess, is when we made the jump from VHS to DVD, that big step up in terms of visual quality somehow came with a big step back in terms of the packaging. Because, okay, check this out. I'm just going to grab a random movie off of the shelf. So, like, let's grab La Haine. It's a French film. It's fantastic. But let's say, okay, I want to watch this, but, I need to head out soon, or maybe I just want to go to sleep. So let's have a look, see if we can find the runtime on the back. So, okay, where's the runtime? Where's the runtime? No, that's the description. There's bonus features, there's languages, like, is it somewhere in here? Subtitles, I guess that's good to know. No, like, I don't know where this is, I'm actually looking for it. Okay, hang on, here we go. Okay, right here, in the tiny print down the bottom, like, that's the barcode. Right there, look how tiny it is next to my finger. Runtime, 94 minutes. Like, how am I supposed to find that out? Like, if I look on the back of the DVD, that's like the #1 thing that I want to see, is how long the film goes for. Because I might not have all day. Okay, for comparison, and all DVDs are like that. Let's grab a random VHS instead. Like, I don't know, Last Starfighter. Oh look, right there. Color, 96 minutes. It's in huge letters. Like, I can be right back here and still see that. Let's grab a different one. Let's grab, I don't know, Romancing the Stone. There we go. Running time, 101 minutes. Like, now, all I can assume, like, if this huge step backwards in such a simple thing, such a basic thing, and it's the worst when it's like a TV show, when it just adds up the minutes of the whole thing. If it says, like, each episode's approximately 22 minutes, whatever, that's okay, then give me the total running time. But, like, I don't want to just see 1,100 minutes. That doesn't help me at all. So, the only reason I can think of they would go from having such a straightforward, simple, perfect thing is to having, like, you know, confusing where the hell is it going to be found. Because when I was putting that database together, like, I'm trying to find the runtime, and I can't find the runtime on, like, 90% of these DVDs. Like, it's tucked away somewhere, and it's always in a different place as well. On the back of the VHS, it's right there. So, the only thing I can think of is that it was when, you know, when DVD took over, that was when we started to see a decline in video rental stores. Because people would go into the video store and, like, you would look on the back of the movie, like, you go, oh, like, you know, I wonder what, like, what's this about, you know, what's this movie? Let me have a look, you know, on the back. Oh, look, you know, there's, like, an Egyptian temple, and they're, like, tied up, and that looks cool. So that was what made up your mind whether you were going to rent a movie. So they wanted you to rent their movies, so their movies were popular. So they would, that's why the big box thing happened as well. Like, if you look at the box of Romancing the Stone, that's, like, much bigger than Raiders of the Lost Ark. And it's because they wanted to, you know, put that eye-catching art across it. So that's why a lot of the really cheesy and cheap exploitation films had those huge clamshells, because they wanted to catch the eye, because that's how they were going to make sales. So having the runtime on the back was really important when you were renting a movie, because you might not want to watch Birth of a Nation, which goes for like 10,000 hours. You know, you might only have 90 minutes. So by the time that DVD rolled around and got popular, then that was less of an issue, because people weren't renting, you would just buy a DVD. So it didn't really matter, because you could just watch it any old time. That's the only reason I can come up with for this huge regression in terms of, like, yeah, it's great we went, you know, from, you know, VHS tapes to DVD discs, but even so, like, this is a gigantic step backward in terms of, I just want to know how long the movie goes for. You know, some of them get it right, some of them get it right, but the weird thing is, it's often the cheaper DVDs that get it right, because they just don't really put anything else on the back. They just put the bare minimum, which includes the runtime. Like, hang on, where's the cheap DVD? Let's grab Horror Express. So this was like a budget DVD release that was put out. Like, you can see, I think that might have been the original poster art, but even so. Let's see, on the back, yeah, here we go. There's like nothing on the back, because there's no information they can really usefully put. Other than 83 minutes. There we go. So that's a budget release DVD, and they do it so much better. They just, compared to if I grab, what's like a big budget film that I've got right here? Star Trek 2. I bet this one's going to be great as well, and it's going to completely undercut what I was saying. Okay. Nope. I got no clue. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, down there in tiny print at the bottom, underneath, like, the friggin' crew credits, which are important, yeah, but not as important, like, to the consumer as the runtime. So, yeah, that's my big gripe. There's always going to be idiots like me who still watch VHS, because those tapes, depending on how they're stored, will last longer than DVD. I mean, pressed DVDs, which are like these ones, will last much longer than rewritable ones that you burn yourself. But tapes, I think, still outlast them, as long as you keep moving them. Like, if you just store them in the same place, stacked up, because it's a magnetic storage medium, just the general magnetic field around them will start to affect the tape. So it's like bottles of wine. You just come and, like, turn the tapes. Come and turn the tapes every so often to make sure they don't, magnetic fields don't start warping them. That's my movie collection and how it's stored. There you have it.